Today is just going to be a little video on like parenting talk, tips, hacks, whatever, what have you. I am by no means an expert. I had to learn most of this the hard way. But before we get into that, I will pop some gum into my mouth. And, we got to take care of the channel. Little hair. Sexy. Oh, look at my hair, by the way. I just brushed it. It just does that. Anyways, if you are new here, welcome to my nonsense. If you're old here, welcome back. Oh, geez. If you're new here, please consider hitting subscribe. And if you're old here, go double check, make sure you're subscribed. Hit the like. If you like, leave a comment. It can be anything related to the video, or it can just be a hello, a few emojis, whatever. As long as it's cool. As long as it's respectful. Hit the notification bell. As always, I will link my tip jars down yonder in the description box. No pressure whatsoever, but every $1, $2 helps. That's what allows me to continue to make content. You're invited to my Patreon. Link is down below. I know not everybody can come, but you can't say that you weren't invited. What else? Oh, links for collabs and email, all that stuff down yonder. Alright. My stomach is probably going to growl because it already has been, and I'm getting really hungry. But the show must go on. Okay, like I said, I've learned almost all this the hard way. I didn't have examples. And so I repeated a lot of things that my parents did wrong. A lot of us do, whether we're aware of it or not. It helps to become aware of it, right? So yeah, I have regrets, but ultimately, I was a parent. I have kids in their 20s. I have a teenager, and now I have a toddler. I know. Nuts. So, these are just things that, per my experience, things I've learned along the way. Number 1, your baby is only a baby for like this long. Your toddler is only a toddler for like a few seconds, I swear to God. So, baby them. Keep them babies as long as you can. Squeeze their cheeks. Kiss them 100 times a day. Hold them when they want to be held. Cuddle. Read the books. Don't worry about all the other stuff. I know, because you can't do it all. It's fine to let other stuff go so you can hold your baby. I have to mention, if you're new to this, this is the ugly side of it. Parenting, all it is just a constant, dull state of mourning for the little baby face. Like, you will always miss that little baby face. You will always see pictures of them as like a baby or a toddler or a little kid, and just it rips your freaking heart out. When you're going in to take their clothes like that they've grown out of, you're gonna hold the clothes, it's gonna rip your freaking heart out. Why do we choose to parent? It's so hard. It emotionally guts you. Okay. Number 2. I think I have 20. Don't be easily offended when people give you advice. Like your first kid, you tend to be like, no, the doctor said this, or how dare this don't. Cut it out. When we say we wish we had a village, that's like the little bit that's left of the village. Now, some advice will be trash. And just, if it's coming from a good place, like, oh, I'll try that, or some advice is going to be good. I swear, the more kids you have, the less you know. And like this toddler had colic and a whole bunch of other like dairy. I swear to God, I would have listened to a barefoot lady at a gas station for advice, because I was like, what? So just, be thankful that somebody's even willing to give you advice, unless it's like super condescending. Then go ahead and say something. But in general, people are just trying to help. Don't be too sensitive to that. Okay. Alright, guys. Huge one. Address your vices. Talked about this a million times. I'm an alcoholic. From a long line of alcoholics. So I didn't really know, because none of my family was in recovery, what constituted an alcoholic. I thought you had to have like DUIs, lost things. No. I was not my best self because I drank too much. A wine mom, if you will. It's okay. It happens to a lot of people. I even have a lot more sympathy for I regret being an alcoholic, yeah. But like when my toddler's cutting up, I'm like, oh, that's why I kept reaching for it. It's a bad habit that forms when you're overwhelmed. Who's texting me this early in the morning? Oh, it's not a text. It's a notification. So you feel like you're slipping. It could be anything. Shopping, alcohol, substances, emotional addictions. It could be anything. Just address them. The more we address them, the less stigma there is. Hey, I'm having trouble with this. Who can I call? What can I do? Oh, my flashlight's on my phone too. Sorry, you guys. I'm all over the place today. Addressing those will make you a better parent. Also, you don't need to hide it from your kids. Your kids will have vices one day. I know, it sucks to think about. But if they have seen you address yours, they will be more likely to address theirs. Like I said, I had no idea what constituted an alcoholic. I might have if somebody in my family had addressed their alcoholism, right? So I tell my kids, like, hey, I would rather you didn't do stuff. That could lead to a problem because you got it coming from both sides. But if you do, don't be scared to bring it up. Don't be scared to come to me or somebody else. A lot of times your kids aren't going to come to you about stuff. They just won't. So it's okay to tell them, talk to whoever you need to talk to. It doesn't have to be me. Great if it is. It does not have to be me. You just need to get help. Okay. Don't parent out of guilt. I've seen this so many. Don't parent out of guilt. It makes you a crappy parent to parent out of guilt. And it's almost an addiction in itself to parent out of guilt. You might be parenting out of guilt for your actions from before, or a lot of people parent out of guilt because the other parent is a scuzz, so they're parenting out of guilt, like, I'm so sorry your other parent isn't coming around or isn't, so they take on this whole like guilt parenting thing. It's not helpful. It's not doing anybody any good. And when you make mistakes, this is how you don't parent out of guilt. When you make mistakes, you say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I overreacted. I'm sorry. I wasn't my best self. I'm sorry. I could have done that differently. That's how you release that. Don't sit with it. Just, I'm sorry. Let me figure out another way to address this. Say things like, let's try this Or today was rough, we're going to try again tomorrow. Or we're both learning. It is so important for your kids to know that no matter how old mom or dad is, we're all still learning. And every kid is different. So you're learning every kid. You're learning every phase of that kid. That kid's changing every couple months. You're changing slower, but you're changing too. So saying things like that, remember that you are teaching your kid how to amend their own wrongs, how to apologize. I had never had an adult say I'm sorry to me my whole entire life. So I didn't know how to say I'm sorry. I didn't know you apologized to anybody, let alone kids. You do. Now I do it all the time. Maybe not all the time, but especially with my toddler, because like I lose it. Like, I'm sorry. Let's try something else. Okay. Also, like I said, sometimes people are parenting out of guilt because the other parent doesn't come around. The other parent isn't holding up their end. And so instead of addressing like the issue, they're just like throwing money at the problem or throwing spoiledness at the problem. No. It is fine to address. I say to your kid, it's not right that person doesn't come around. It's not right. You have every right to feel however you feel about it. Like, address it. If you address it, you're going to get rid of the self-guilt about it. And you shouldn't be feeling guilt about what the other parent is not doing. You can try to make them. Good luck with that. Okay. And tell your kid, you're worth more than that. It's not a you thing. It's a them thing. And you're not going to be that kind of a parent. I know you better than that. We don't do that around here. Let him do that. Or let her do that. We don't do that around here. Okay. My nose is starting to run. Per usual. Okay. Be reasonable. Every rule you set, try to be reasonable with it. Once you know you're being reasonable, you've checked, like, it's reasonable. Let's just say, I give my kids a reasonable amount of chores, maybe 15 minutes a day or something, that's very reasonable. So now that I'm secure with that, I set a reasonable expectation, I'm going to be firm with that. Because it is natural for a kid to not like to do chores or not want to do homework or whatever it may be. It's like something goes a little wacky and they want to push back. But once you're like, I have made a completely reasonable and I know you can't be 100% at it. You're going to have days that I'm going to have to be like, you know what, today I'm going to let it go. You might have hard months, but if you know you've set reasonable expectations, you gotta be firm on them. Is it like kids actually do like consistency, but they'll never admit it? It's like something in there knows they want it, but something out here doesn't. This is a little hack, okay, once your kids are a little older. Maybe when your kids are like 7, 8, and they get in this habit of waking you up at the butt crack of dawn on the weekends. Now, I'm already up on the weekends. But some people like a little extra sleep. Like, can you sleep till 8 a.m.? Some kids want to get up and be entertained at the crack of dawn. So, what I found is, if you don't want them to like jump out of bed and be like, what are we doing today? Tell them, okay guys, I need you to wake me up real early tomorrow so we can get a good start on this cleaning. I've had 100% success rate with that, with getting a little extra time in bed. If I say that, kids, try try to wake up early tomorrow, okay? And come wake me up so that we can get a head start on all these chores we gotta do. Try it. Have boundaries for yourself. State them and model them, and then in return respect their boundaries. So at a certain age, your kid's gotta stop following you into the damn bathroom. You know, I see TikToks where like teenage boys are in the bathroom with their moms in the tub. Like, you gotta set some boundaries somewhere, you know, and enforce them. Like, get the hell out of here. There's no reason for this. You're gonna have to hold it until I'm done in here. And in turn, we're not barging in without knocking or going into the bed. Like, you know, respect their boundaries too. And some families do have a little looser boundaries than others. I get it, but don't even worry about stuff that's not hurting themselves or hurting others. Like, your kids are going to dress in ways and we did, that is going to make your face do weird things. Like, don't. They're going to say weird things, like these new trends, and just, you make it worse. You bring more of it out if you act like they're trying to get a rise out of you. So if you kind of just let a lot of that go, if it's not hurting them or hurting anybody else, just kind of whatever. Clothes, crazy trends, the annoying phrases, the more irritated you get, they're like, ooh, they'll keep doing it. So if you just like whatever, they'll stop. Or they won't, but you practice not letting it bother you, and it's not going to bother you. It's not hurting anybody. My stomach is growling. Okay. Teenagers, don't take the attitude personally. It's innate. They can't help it. They wake up mad sometimes. They are just, something's going on inside with their hormones, and sometimes you say good morning and they don't even respond. And naturally you want to be like, what's wrong? Or it's usually nothing. And then you asking about it makes it worse. So then they get more attitude, and then you're like, what the hell? I was trying to be nice. Like, trust me, I've done this a million times. They got a little attitude. Nothing big. Don't make it worse by like, just be like, oh, right. Don't take it personally. Obviously, if they're being straight up rude, let them know, like, hey, that was rude. Okay. But it probably doesn't even have to get there if they're just in their normal, like, state of teenage angst. Teenage dude. It's a teenage dude. It's been around forever. Don't take it personally. It's probably not even at you. Let them work through whatever's going on in there. Everything's the end of the world sometimes. There's a set of years. It's different for every kid where it's everything is just the end of the world. They hate everything. They don't want to do anything cool with you. And like, just don't take it personally. Try again later. Wi-Fi is your tool. There's not a lot of tools. Wi-Fi is one of them. Wi-Fi isn't life or death. You know, not having Wi-Fi isn't abusive. So, kid hasn't been turning in homework. Okay, I guess you don't need the Wi-Fi for a couple days. I mean, give them a chance. Like, hey, you haven't been turning in your homework. Do I need to pull the Wi-Fi cord so that you can focus on this? It's in your hands now. The ball is in your court. Okay? I asked you to do those 15 minutes of chores 3 times. I'm going to pause this Wi-Fi. Let's get these chores done. Let's knock them out. And then whatever. Use the Wi-Fi. I said what I said. Somebody's going to come on here and be like, you are a parent first. That does not mean there's no room to be a friend. But parent is the default. Friend is the buffer. That does not mean to be a cool mom. Does not mean that, I'm gonna call them karaoke moms too, like you just morph into your teenager and like try to relive your teenage years through, like, no, it's not what I mean. Just be a friend. Be a soft place to land. Be understanding. Try to not be judgmental. But you are a parent first, and obviously their safety comes first, and teaching them like just how to function and be kind, good people. That's all comes first. But the friendship needs to be there, and it's a buffer. I didn't have that. My mom was not my friend. My dad was definitely not my friend. Go to the movies with your kid. It's so hard to get time with them, but when you do get that time, don't talk about nothing heavy. Just go have fun with your kid. Like you would a friend. We're not going to address any of the issues right now. We're just going to go have a good time. Okay. When your kids get older, the best talks you're going to have with them are going to be in the car. Why? Because they don't have to look at you. Everybody look at this way. For some reason, that makes them open up. So, just be prepared. Turn the radio down when they start, because they're going to keep going. They're going to word vomit in the car. Listen. Especially boys. They like to talk in the car. Like, you can't get a kid to come sit down on the couch and talk to you. You just can't. Some you might be able to, but most of my kids, like, hey, come sit down. No. Off. The car, they're stuck with you, but they're not looking right at you. The pressure's off, and they just start talking. Listen to me. Your kids are going to have friends or relationships. They're going to bring people around. And your mommy radar is going to be like, uh-oh. Don't say it. You're going to keep seeing it. They're going to keep bringing this person around. That's their best friend for a while. But you're seeing stuff that you're like, shit. You're right. 9 times out of 10, you're right. My mom was probably right about a lot of them. She was. Even though she wasn't paying that much attention, but she was right. Instead of you saying anything, pose questions that they can honestly answer to themselves and hear themselves say it. So, the friends, whatever, let's just give an example. Friends, I won't even say that one because teenagers do tease each other a lot, but like, let's say a friend says, like, they make plans with a friend and that friend's constantly like ditching them for another friend last minute or something. Don't say like, oh, your friend is really crappy, you should stop hanging out with him. Yeah, that's the truth. And then you're the one that's putting up with your kid that like is mad at you because they had a bad day. Like, it sucks. So it's so hard not to be like, look, this is about little Sarah who keeps ditching you last minute after you get ready. Like, don't. Just pose questions that make them, where they can hear themselves say it. Like, oh, did she do that before? Or does this happen a lot? just, you get what I'm saying. I'm not articulating it that well, but if you ask the right questions, they'll come to the right conclusion, without you putting words in their mouth, but like just provoking the thought. Maybe that's not such a good friend. One thing I didn't put on here is to have a code word. And I'm not just talking about like, they have code words like, oh, I'm your mom's friend and I'm supposed to pick you up from school. My kids would have never. But when I say a code word, I mean a word that your kid, when they get a little older and they're out with friends, and a lot of us have got ourselves in unsafe situations by hanging out with dingbats, right? But you don't want to look like the tattletale or the chicken or whatever. You don't want the conflict, whatever it may be. So have a phrase that your kid can text you. That means, I need to be picked up. We'll deal with this later. Maybe I'm not even supposed to be here. Whatever. We'll talk about that tomorrow, but right now I need to be picked up because it's getting weird over here. So the phrase could be whatever. It's got to be something low-key that like doesn't out them if their friend's looking at who they're texting, what they're texting. And then like my plan would be, okay, if you text me like that, my kid kind of overuses this because she'll just use it when she wants to come home from somewhere. That's fine. But I'll call and be like, look, you didn't do your chores. You're coming home. You're in huge trouble. Don't make me come find you. It's, it's just a sham to get them out of that moment. And my kids don't have, there's no get out of jail free card. But it's not that big of a deal if I find out you were somewhere you weren't supposed to be and you gotta have no Wi-Fi tomorrow. Seriously. It's better just to get out of that situation. There goes my stomach again. Okay. Have one-on-one time. If you have multiple kids, is family time important? Sure. But you know what is more meaningful? Is like one-on-one time. So like today, like alternate. So I used to do like middle kid day, oldest kid day, baby day. But like the older kids are always like, oh, every day is baby day. Because everybody knows that the baby is like, parents are just tired. That's why the little ones get away with more. So like a lot of the memories that you'll have are from these like little one-on-one outings where you just make that kid feel special for a while. It's just me and mom, and we're doing this today. Also, it's a lot cheaper to take one kid somewhere than 2 or 3. So you get a chance to bond for less money. Breakfasts are pretty, well, not anymore. I used to like to take the kids to breakfast like one-on-one. Like 1 month it's you, 1 month it's you. Because breakfast used to be pretty cheap. So you get that like hour and a half matinees. And I'm kind of talking about budgeting a little bit. Because if you got it, go ahead, do whatever. I don't know. But just try to get that one-on-one time. Because kids crave one-on-one time with their mom or dad, whatever it may be, Okay, we're all probably traumatized, especially if you're from my generation. Like, I didn't get parented. The parenting I didn't get was crap. I am inevitably, that's what I knew. A lot of it's still what I know. I've learned a lot, and I'm probably still traumatizing my toddler, doing my absolute best. So, break what cycles you can. Do what you can. Try to keep yourself aware, but you're not going to be perfect. And your kids will let you know that. Do your best. Break what cycles you can. Make amends when necessary. If they still got issues, that's okay too. Your kids are allowed to not like you. Your kids are allowed to not talk to you. Your kids are allowed to be mad at you. They gotta do what they gotta do. Be better with what you know now. And if they need to get outside help, therapy, whatever it may be, then you hope that they do. You cannot fix everything for your kids, so stop trying. Not everything needs parental intervention. What am I at number? I should have been numbering these. I'm not. Whatever. There's 20. Just trust me. Probably more than that because I added in a few. Kids need to learn how to problem solve, right? So don't intervene every single issue your kid has. That teaches them nothing. There will be natural consequences. It's fine. There's going to be some friend disputes. It's fine. There's going to be some grade issues. It's fine. You know, they need to work through some of these things on their own before a parent steps in. If you're stepping in for every single thing, your kid is not going to be okay as an adult. Always remember, you have a kid. The world gets an adult for the next. You have your kid for 18, 20 years. The world's getting an adult for a worker, a spouse, a uncle, a community member, a whatever it may be. Oh my God, my stomach. So you have to do your job as a parent to help them be the best adult they can be that will serve them well. Support whatever they're interested in 100%, right? Show an actual interest in it. Keep up to date on it. That's awesome. Keep going. Whatever it is. Help them meet their goals within reason. But let them know that, like, whatever path they choose, they gotta pay their own bills. So it has to make sense for that, you know? I support your dreams, but you will be paying your own bills, so they have to be based in reality. Whatever that looks like to you, I'm here. I'm here. And, you know, some kids need help once in a while, whatever. I'm not talking about that. I mean, like, you're not living in my basement until you're 45 because you have a dream of something that is just not possible at all. Okay. I don't think that budgeting should be a secret. I'm going to tell you about a TikTok I saw. This teenage girl was getting highlights in her hair, and the mom, the sanctum mom, that's what Mary calls them, but the mom was making a TikTok like, you know, we have no money, but I don't want my kid to know that, so I'm here getting her highlights. First of all, you're full of shit. You're full of shit because if you had no money and you got highlights instead of groceries, all the comments are like, you go mom, you go mom. I can't. It's not true. You're just making a TikTok for no freaking reason to look like a certain way, you know? But there is nothing that you are doing your kid a favor by saying, we can't do that this month. I do not want my kid to be spending money that they don't have when they're an adult, unable to pay their bills because they feel like they need highlights. Some stuff can wait. Not everything is within the budget. Kids need to learn how to budget. My older kids, there used to be classes at the library. They were awesome. I can't find classes like this anymore. I hope they bring stuff like this back. I would help in any way that I could. But first of all, they would bring in, like, there was career days once a month. But there was life classes too. So one of the classes, you should have seen the looks on my kids' faces when they walked out of this class. They were teenagers, like young teens at the time, I think. You go into this class they give you a job, like a pretty good job, making decent money. And the kids are like, whoa, I'm a this. And they like walk the kid through, if you made this much. And at first the kids are like, well, what kind of car, what kind of car you pick out in your house. And then they total all this all out, and they just watch this like great money that these kids thought they were making from this profession get blown to smithereens. Like, nope, you actually can't afford that car. No, you can't afford that house. Or, like, they need to bring more classes like that back. Budgeting classes for kids. Like, I don't think it's ever too soon. Even when you have I used to have a phrase when we'd go into a store, because I used to take my kids into stores. There didn't used to be like all this online ordering stuff. And my phrase was, don't look, because if you look, you want, and we can't. And I say that to myself. I have to say it to myself. And my kids have heard me say it to myself. I'm like, ooh. And I'm like, no. You look, you want. You look, you want. Don't. We gotta get food. It's fine. You guys are safe. We got a roof. We got some food. We're good. Say yes when you can. Let them have a childhood. Let them go do stuff. Just say yes when you can. Give them a little bit of trust. Until they prove that they can't be trusted, give them trust. But for safety reasons, I'm going to say have early curfews. Have a location on. Teaching kids that you don't have to be the last one to leave the party is important. I was wait, the party's not over yet. No, leave. And there's been so many events that my kids have been like, oh my God, listen to what happened after I left. Scary things, So, being the kid with the early curfew, as long as you get to do enough, the early curfew is not going to kill anybody. Not super unreasonable, but like on the earlier side. All right, my last one, number 20. This is a long video. You are not just a parent. Your kids need to see how you value yourself as an individual. So keep doing things that you enjoy. Have a couple nights a month that you go do those things. Your kids need to see that you can take care of yourself. That you keep up with your own self-care. That you can delegate to your partner or to the kids. These are skills. You want your kid to be able to say, hey, I'm doing this. Can you handle that? Like, these are just adulting things that you should model. Your whole identity cannot be mom. You're not going to be mommy forever. Kids are watching that too. Like, they're watching how you treat your partner. They're watching how you treat your friends. They're watching how you foster adult relationships and navigate adult issues and adult relationships. They're watching how you regulate your overwhelm. I can't take it no more, and nobody has done any of this stuff so I'm overwhelmed and I need a minute. Whatever. You do not have to have all gas, no brakes on parenting. It's not going to serve you as a parent. It's not going to serve them as the kid. Show them, I'm an adult. I'm your mom. I'm an adult. I'm this, I'm that. I'm a few things. I'm a worker. I'm a spouse. I'm a friend. And I can have what I want. I just have to balance everything. I'm not a slave to any one of those things. All right. God, please be nice in the comments. These are just things that I've learned, and I have been on this journey for 1 billion years, and I have 1 billion years left. Okay. If you are still there and you watched this all the way to the end, thank you very much. YouTube loves that shit. I hope